Welcome to the Lost Vet podcast, where we are helping you to get back to your passion and purpose. I'm your host, Dr. Melody Chan, and in today's episode of Destination People, Laura Omand shares her experience of moving through the different roles and responsibilities in a veterinary clinic, all the way up to practice manager over the last 20 plus years, and the pivotal moment in which she realized she was only one person and couldn't do it all. Have a listen. Welcome, Laura. So happy to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here.
Great. I am delighted to have you on because you have had quite the journey in the veterinary industry and the animal health industry. I thought it'd be a good place to start with our listeners for you to just tell us how you got into it and where you are today.
Sure. I'd be happy to. Like many of us, just being an animal lover, it was animals are always a big part of my life growing up. We did a lot of rescues of wildlife through my childhood and things like that. I got very lucky to be able to have a volunteer position at our local animal hospital as a kennel assistant in high school and really loved and enjoyed it. And lucky for me, there was an opening for client care and vet assistant position on weekends. And I was approached and asked for that, and very excitedly accepted. And that kind of started my journey as I think it was 16 when I started.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty awesome. I learned a lot of lessons along the way. As I continued on with the clinic, client care became more primarily my role. And it was kind of at the time, registered veterinary technicians were being utilized in practice. So we were starting to hire some of them to join our team, which was great. And then I kind of slid more primarily into client care for a number of years. Mm-hmm. Leadership then kind of became a real passion for me, and watching our veterinarians kind of direct our team throughout the days and how we got through some days. To be honest, some days were hard and tough. We're a large practice, mixed animal, multi-location, a lot of team members, so there's always lots happening. I was approached to become kind of a lead in client care, and very flattered for that, and took my role very seriously, and always wanting to be kind of helpful to those on their journey as they were learning and growing. And then as I got, I guess, better in my role, or more more comfortable, of course, more tasks and more responsibilities I took on, and I kind of became an assistant to our, at that time, practice manager. And then when he made his exit, then I was approached to take on that role. So that's where I am now, 25 years later, the practice manager of our practice.
That is quite paving stones along the way, and it just built as you went. That's pretty incredible. So it gives people an idea of, you can start as a kennel assistant in high school and then end up being a practice manager in a multi-practice business, if you will.
Absolutely. Yep. So many lessons along the way, and so many still. And I think that's my biggest takeaway, is you never stop learning. Every week, sometimes daily, there's always little nuggets that you pick up, and you just have to be willing to be open and take them in.
Yeah. I'm curious, you had mentioned that you were approached to be lead of the client care team. How were you approached, and how did that particular transition go for you?
I think it was a very natural approach for me. Like, it was one of the owners that had approached me, and the practice manager. Mm-hmm. And again, I think it was just, I hope it was the work that I was showing. Our team was very important to me. So yes, I was in client care, but we all have so many pieces where we relate to each other. So the vet and the client care's relationship, the technician and the client care, and then as a whole, right? So I tried to always work with that in mind, that you were always supporting the team as a whole, not just your one work group.
Yeah.
So just having somebody on the client care role that was, making sure our SOPs were staying up to date, that would take the responsibility when we added to our team, for mentorship and training and coaching as they started their journeys. And that was always a real passion, for me. So I kind of naturally would be involved in those things. So it was kind of making it more official, and then being able to look at our processes and, having the ability to ask our team what's working with it now, what do we maybe want to change with it, and then having the ability to make those changes. So it was
Hmm.
pretty empowering, but also, awesome. It was
Yeah.
right up my alley.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like just from that last statement you said, it sounds like you take that approach of asking the team for feedback to
Yeah.
get ideas of what should we change, what should we continue doing, what do we start doing.
Yes, I really truly believe that is where the magic happens, is within your team. I'm one person. Yes, I have thoughts and ideas, but when you can collaborate with others and hear their thoughts and ideas, you can just really go with it, right? You can just keep building on to one thought or idea, and sometimes they have a very differing opinion, but it's still very valuable when you're trying to make a plan or even, consider changes. So it's
Hmm.
super helpful.
Yeah, that's great. As you continued on, because I think I can relate to this in my career, and I don't know if it was the same for you, as you moved into different roles and sort of kept going up, and you would have previous responsibilities and now you've got new responsibilities, how were you feeling along the way in the amount of responsibilities
Sure.
you were gathering along the way?
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to explain it. You keep gathering, and the gathering kept happening, and, there wasn't much, unloading. So, at one point in my journey, I did feel quite overwhelmed, and, almost a little bit stuck. But it was me being the person causing the stick, if that makes sense. So,
Okay.
when you're the person doing the work, um, and then now the team's coming to you for help and support, things really slowed down quickly because I'm only one person and can only pump out so much in a day. And then with interruptions on top of that, that really did sometimes impact my day. So that, it became more challenging as I went.
Okay. And so was there a particular moment where you kind of felt like you came to that crossroads of, wow, this is a lot, or was it a gradual loading of yourself?
I think it was a gradual loading over a number of years. And then I think the pivotal point was when our practice manager at the time decided to move on. And then I was all of a sudden in that role. Again, more responsibilities, and really wanting to do well, and not feeling maybe well. So,
Hmm.
feeling a little bit run thin. So, and that's both in my personal life. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, as well as in my career, and just feeling like maybe both spots weren't great. And then looking at like how do I keep doing this role that I love and I'm very passionate about, but it's also very giving of yourself and not feeling like I can't do well in both aspects of my life.
Okay. So what did you do? Because I would say it
Yeah.
it takes a lot for a person just A, to
Mhm.
realize perhaps the roadblock is me. That
Yeah.
that in
Yeah.
itself
Yeah.
is a big realization, I think, to come to.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
little curious for you to expand on just how you even got to that understanding of yourself, and
For
then what are maybe some specifics that you did from that moment.
For sure. Around that time, we as a management team, so we are a privately owned practice. We have six vet owners, and then myself that make our management team. And at that time, I think a lot of us were feeling, overwhelmed, maybe a little lost on how to get out of that feeling and move forward. So we had talked as a partnership about working with, a leadership coach, someone that could come in and truly help us kind of, what is our vision right now? What are our goals, and help us kind of sort through all that a little bit, because we're all very passionate about the work aspect, working in the business, but then it's kind of like working on ourselves and working on the business is just as important. So we did start a journey with Rob Marr. He joined our team as our leadership coach. And I think just with me having some one-on-one coaching time with him to really dig into, how I was feeling, why I thought I felt that way, and what I needed. And then recognizing that, I am one person. We have a very large team. It is, almost impossible for one person to be able to manage 70 employees well and do all the things you want to do. And for me, it was just realizing we needed more boots on the ground. I needed more of a team that I could go to and trust in those moments to ensure our team had more resources in the moment, and support them in the way we wanted to support them. Also, the shift of my mind, I got the opportunities that I was given because I worked hard and I did my work well. But there comes a point that almost hurt me because I just kept taking more and more on. So realizing that I needed to learn how to delegate some of those tasks, and that delegation wasn't a bad thing. I think I had it a little twisted in my mind that when I delegated, it was almost like I was saying I couldn't do this, or I wasn't good enough to do this anymore. And that's not the case at all. It's really giving those opportunities to others that are out there on your team that have strengths, that have goals to grow in their role as well. So the work's still getting done, and then I'm able now to watch those journeys happen and see those people gain more experiences and challenge themselves.
It's interesting just listening to you talk, because I'm really hearing this clear divide in your head of understanding there's the work and there's the work that needs to be done, right? There's that day to
Yeah.
day, the tasks as veterinarians, there's the things and the technical things that we need to understand in the medicine. As the vet techs, there's the things that they do to help as well with patient care. And we focus so much on the work maybe
Yeah.
sometimes, and get validation from the job well done, rather than taking that step back and thinking about how do we really make sure we're investing that same amount of effort and intention in the people.
Absolutely. No, 100% agree with that. And it not being I guess, a negative. That for me, that was the hard part, right? Of like, what do you mean I have to give up this task that I learned and gave my blood, sweat, and tears to? But
Yeah.
it is okay, and it's a good thing. It's a positive thing. And honestly, now seeing others do those tasks, feeling challenged and see them succeed, that's hugely rewarding to me.
hmm And it sounds like having that third party in Rob Marr come in, to work through what the practice wanted as far as leadership
Absolutely.
and time and management
For
was
sure.
really important. Before Rob came in, or before you hired in a third party, how was that type of development done for the leaders?
For myself, it was a lot of hands-on, honestly, like
Okay.
taking a lot of what I learned in my journey at our practice, and always applying it, like, treating how others, how I like to be treated, like, speaking kindly, helping them to develop, taking some official, leadership and HR courses, because definitely want to make sure that I'm following those rules and doing things well. Um, Also being part of different environments that are really for leadership and management out there. So even in our veterinary community, there's a lot of great ones that I'm a part of. So taking part in good CE where you can collaborate with others, that's huge. Just to feel like you're not alone out there, that there's others that
Mm-hmm.
are going through similar challenges, and hearing maybe some methods or ways that they've used that you maybe haven't thought of, or even being able to share some of your trials and tribulations that will help other people as well. So that's a very collaborative approach I really like.
Yeah. Do you think you could have gotten to where you got to of realizing sort the self work of delegating, realizing that mind shift, like you said, of that you don't need to be everything to everyone all the time? Do
Yes.
you think you could have gotten there without those coaching one-on-one sessions?
Probably not. No, to be quite honest, I'm a people pleaser. So for me to like give something up or to feel like I haven't done something myself to the best of my capability, that's really hard for me. So those one-on-ones, we could really dig into that, like that about me, and learning that the difference between the person doing the work now to the person managing, and what that really means is that you can't be the person doing all the work. That I now have to be the person that's helping to collaborate and ensure those tasks are getting done with our valued team, but also having time to think and plan and take the business forward. And watching for what are our threats out there that we haven't thought about, what are things that we're doing that we need to improve on, and having that time dedicated to think about that. When you're constantly firefighting, you can't. My schedule was, yes, I had the work all diaried in my schedule for that week, but my door was constantly moving. Things like our IT, computers are down, printers not working, those would really take up my day. And then the next day is just the same with other challenges. So to be able to move those distractions, and understand why those are happening, what do we need to put into place to keep them from happening in the future, and then having the time in my diary to think about things and plan things out and collaborate now with my leadership team, my team leads, to take our clinic and keep moving forward.
So are you actually writing into your diary thinking time and
Yes,
blocking
I
that
do.
time out?
Yep. That
And,
is something that Rob really kind of drilled into me, the importance of it. And I live by that. I truly do. And it's been so valuable. And if I have a bad week, it's usually because I've let myself slide. I haven't taken that time to put that in my diary and dedicate that time for myself. So when I feel
and
overwhelmed, it's like you have to do that little self-check of like, why am I feeling this way? What happened this week that's different? And it's usually because I've not been, I've let something slide.
okay. And so how much time do you schedule in a week or a month for that thinking time?
Yep, for sure. I would say probably a good hour to 2 hours in a week for, okay, what's coming up? What have we completed? What are some challenges that, the team's brought up that, maybe we didn't plan for, or weren't thinking about. I mentioned I have a leadership team that I work with. So I have tech team leads and CCR team leads. So we meet once a month, and we review a lot of different things that are going on in the practice, and sometimes they're bringing things to me that aren't even on my radar. So again, just marking those things in, and talking with the team on how they see it, and then kind of making a plan how we move forward.
Yeah. Well, that's brilliant. I think you've mentioned some key things like taking time for yourself to think, delegating, that importance of the one-on-one coaching or mentoring
Mhm.
um, as a business skill, because I think it again, we those group learning situations of going to CE, going to conferences, going to workshops, those are absolutely wonderful to gain more information. My sense is that to really take yourself to that next level, or even I sometimes feel like I come back from a meeting and now I've got way more information and I'm not sure how to implement it.
Absolutely. Yep, that's a
And
true
the
thing.
importance. And so you've got an extra thing you're trying
Yes.
to put in, and investing in that personal coach, professional coach, um, to help take you to that next level and just help you work through things
For
is so
sure.
invaluable.
We would have the same, right? And it's an investment, right? We want to send our team to these things. We're investing in that time and money to do it. And then you're exactly right. You come back and then you kind of just get back to it and keep going. So the last few years when we've done CE, I've kind of sent a little summary sheet with our team of like, what are their good takeaways, right? Like what was like a golden nugget there for you that really resonated that you think would be helpful at our practice. And then we have a meeting that we just debrief about our CE, right? Like, and then everyone has an opportunity to go through those. And then as a team, we kind of decide, okay, out of all these things, what are maybe our top 2 or 3 that we think are important that we start to implement in our team right now? And then we kind of take those then moving forward, because you're right, there's so much good information, it can sometimes be overwhelming. And then when you come back to your regular life of busy and lots of things on the go, it can kind of just get lost then.
I think my key takeaway from you is just remembering to take a moment, take a breath, and be
Yeah.
truthful in your self-reflection, and then
Yes,
ask for help.
that's right. Yeah, it's not a weakness. It really isn't. Because I say now, like when I think of the changes we made and where we are now from where we are, I'm so thankful we went through the hard and we went through that, uncomfortableness to get where we are now, because
Yeah,
it's truly what needed to happen.
that's brilliant. Well, thank you, Laura. Thank you for your time. I think our listeners will have picked up a lot of little golden nuggets and really appreciate your approach and your sharing.
Thank you so much for having me.
I think one of the traits I value most about Laura in speaking with her is her ability to be self reflective and honest with herself. The key, I think, here was really listening to her journey and realizing and acknowledging that she does get validation in gathering more responsibility. She likes to be recognized by doing work and doing it well. And it's one of these double edged swords where it's like, I've heard this before, a pie eating contest where the prize is more pie. So I really appreciated her journey in just being able to recognize I'm not doing well. I want to do well, but other things are really starting to suffer, not just at work, but just within her personal life, and just for her own well being. I think the important discussion here is that she was able to identify that and then bring it to the group of leaders that she's working with and realize she's not in it alone, that the rest of them are feeling like this and realizing something has to change. And this idea of delegating responsibilities, divesting tasks is not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign that you can't do it. It's really an opportunity for you to share in that learning and development with somebody else. Because if you decide to do it all yourself, you're actually depriving somebody else in the practice, in the business, of learning something themselves and actually stepping up and helping in perhaps a leadership management role or just somewhere else in the business or practice where they can actually be a really valuable team member and teammate to just help everyone else get along with their day and make the environment a better place. So I really appreciated Laura's candor in her own personal journey through all this and realizing I'm the roadblock and that's okay. And I think it's important to just move from there and go, okay, what do I want to do then? What are the next steps to help move on from here? Hope you found this helpful. Thanks for listening. Until next time.